Well, good afternoon. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to explore a part of comedy that we've never really addressed before, and that's the impressionist. These are men and women who mimic other actors, and this is a long-held avocation of professional performers. It goes back certainly to the beginning of the last century, and I'm sure long before that. There was a magician named the Great Lafayette that used to do impressions of other magicians doing their acts. But we're going to see, starting off with what unfortunately is a pretty poor quality film of Will Jordan doing Ed Sullivan. Now, he's one of the earliest impressionists that came to the public's attention. And we'll also bring in Frank Gorshin and several other impressionists that you may be familiar with. Now, the problem with this, of course, is that these impressionists are going to be doing impressions of people that were popular some time ago, and you may not know who they are. So if you're not familiar with Kirk Douglas and someone says, "One more word out of you and I'm going to shove my chin down your throat," then that's not going to mean a whole lot to you. Or if you're not familiar with Walter Brennan and someone says, "God darn it, little Luke, what are you and Kate doing out there in the tomato patch?" Well, that's not going to mean much to you either. And if you don't know who Boris Karloff is, then someone saying to you, "I thought I saw an apparition, but it was only antipasta," is going to fall flat. And that may happen. We have a political impressionist, one of the very best, and he'll be doing President Johnson and many other people. And unfortunately, if you don't remember those politicians, then you won't necessarily fully tune into this. But I think you'll get something out of it anyway. So here we go, the impressionist. I want to finish up as I talked to you about a man named Vaughn Meader. And Vaughn Meader was a comedian in the early 60s, and he became quite famous doing impressions of President Kennedy. And tragically, when President Kennedy was assassinated in 1963, Vaughn Meader just disappeared off the scene. He, frankly, no one wanted to see him because they associated him with the president, even though Vaughn Meader had an act that encompassed all kinds of other things, different impressions and other comedy bits. But what he did was, when he did the President Kennedy, he actually had a set, he had other actors in it, so it was much more like you'd see on Saturday Night Live today. So I have a clip of that, and you can see the sad career of Vaughn Meader, but he was very good for his time, and so here he is.